Hello everyone, my name is Bree and welcome to Documented Journey. This week is going to be a little bit different. We are doing a draw and paint with me. I don't really know what to call it, but I just wanted to share with you the whole process of this sketchbook spread. There is a few things that I've been working on, kind of in my style, just to focus on something to get better at in my art and illustrations, and that is doing layered scenes, so putting the object in a place. A lot of my work is of just one flower or one illustration, and it doesn't have a background, it is just kind of there floating. And I wanted to get better at putting it in its home or in its space. So that is what I've been focusing on lately in my sketchbook, and I thought that it would be fun to take you along, not only for you to visually see the whole journey, but also possibly hear my thoughts. So there's going to be some times where I am doing the voiceover like I am right now, but then there's also going to be some real-time chat with you, so that way you can kind of understand what's going on in my head in the moment. The sketch is finished. I don't think I mentioned this, but this is an etcher sketchbook. I like the paper a lot. I hate the cover. It's gross. It's dirty. It's white and canvas, and I don't like the cover. But I do like the paper. The paper kind of feels like home. I didn't have to adjust to the paper at all, so it was really nice. It's kind of like Stillman, it's not like Stillman and Birn, but it feels like Stillman and Birn because I don't have to adjust to it at all. Anyway, and I also really like Strathmore Mixed Media. Besides the point, I am going to paint this. I'm a little nervous because I really like it, but such is life. I can always draw it again because I drew it once. I'm going to be using this palette right here. These are the colors. I might need a brown, but I think I could mix the brown with indigo and this orange, or even this orange. Anyway, this palette is an art tool kit. This is the Demi palette, and inside these paints are Da Vinci. I have been eyeing these paints for a very long time. The reason why I've been eyeing them so much is because they really care. Da Vinci as a brand really cares about the environment, and so I have been researching into their pigments and their paints, and one of my patrons just messaged me out of the blue and asked me if I wanted to try them, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So she sent me these cute little pans, these little mini pans. These are also from Art Toolkit, and I happen to have an extra Demi palette, so I just popped them in and I love them. So I have swatched them, but I haven't actually painted with them, so that is going to be fun. I want an extra palette for mixing because that's small, but everything is full of paint. All of my palettes are full of paint. paint, paint, paint. I obviously need to just use them. So those are full. I can't use those. Let's see. What do I have over here? I could clean out these two. That purple, I don't want to get rid of that purple because there's still a little bit on there. But I guess I could clean out these two and use these as mixing. So I'm going to do that. I have, like I said, never painted with these paints, and I always get a little nervous just because I don't know how they're going to mix and everything. So that's kind of why I wanted more mixing space. But I think we're good here. Okay, I just want to make sure everything's kind of like in frame. This is my towel, and I'm using this one's rubbed off completely, the name of the size. This is a 2, this is a 4. These are dynamic distraction brushes. I really like these. I've been using them for a couple months, 3 months. I don't know. I've been using them for a while, and they're still going strong. My only thing is their name and the number of the brush will rub off, but I already kind of know what size they are, so, or at least I can kind of tell that there's small, medium, and large. So, but I really do like these brushes, and I haven't been using anything else, actually. Okay, so we have lots of greens in this palette that she gave me, which she knows me, so she knows that I like the greens. And she also tried to give me a variety, which was really nice. I'm going to pick up this leaf green. Ooh. I noticed with these that with my Daniel, so I normally use Daniel Smith, and I noticed that with the Da Vinci paints, these tend to be more tacky. When I am using them, it takes them a bit longer to dry. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. I guess it would be kind of bad if you were wanting to throw them in your bag or something, but it's not really that big of a deal. So I just mixed yellow and green together to get me a really light color. And I'm just going to go into my leaves and paint where I put my marks down from my ballpoint. And then what I do is I just blend it out with some water. With watercolor, I like to start pretty light. I also like to start with my lightest color because you can build up your color, but you can't take it away. So starting light and starting with when I say light, I mean light in color and light in wash. It's just a good way to build up brightness and depth with watercolor. I will pop a picture that I snapped of this dragonfly. He let me get so close to him when I was taking his picture. It was awesome. So a lot of times people ask me if I'm working off of a reference. And yes, most of the time I do. Does it always look like the reference? No. But the reference is just there to give you inspiration and give you ideas. It's not necessarily there for you to all the time copy it exactly. I'm sure most of you know by now, I am not a realistic painter. The painting, yes, it looks like a dragonfly and a leaf and all that kind of stuff, but it's not realistic. It doesn't look exactly as if I took a photo, and you can't tell the difference between my painting and the photo. So yes, I have realism in my work, but it's not completely realistic. So working from the picture is a lot of fun because then you have this artistic license, is what people like to call it, to kind of just do whatever you want to do and make it, make some things stand out and other things not. That's the beauty of one, painting, and another one, just trying things in your sketchbook. Before I go too crazy with everything, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have my background done. The whole background was the leaves and everything. So I think I want to make these as dark as possible, the darkest green I can. So I'm going to touch into this green, and I'm going to use this mixing palette because that way I can get a lot of paint in one go. And remember, you want to add water to this. And I also kind of want to add some olive in there. You can always get darker. You cannot get lighter. All right, is there a purple in here? An indigo. I'll just pick up that indigo to add some blue tones and get a little deeper. I'm not used to this indigo. It's a little bit more blue than I'm used to, which is fine. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting up this background so that way I'm not having to really worry about it anymore. I forgot to paint this one. Did you see this? I always do that. I always end up missing like one when I'm trying to paint all of them at the same time. It's funny. After I got the first layer in, I thought to myself that this was looking just way too flat. I don't know how to explain it, but I want to create depth and layers, and I just did like a flat wash on it instead of adding in all those different textures that should be in there, like all the different leaf textures and everything like that. So I wasn't quite happy with it, and that's why I went in with the lighter green, and then I'm going back into it with an even darker green to possibly create some depth and I don't know, just a deeper look. I want to create those layers, and I'm just not, and it's frustrating, but I keep trying and I keep going back in to try and make it work. Okay, so I'm gonna take a pause here and I'm gonna let everything dry, and then I will come back and do the branches, and then I will start adding color to him too. Okay, so I am back. We are all dry. And now I'm going to start with the wood first. I'm nervous to paint him, so there's that. But we're gonna start with the wood. I need to make brown, and complementary colors will make brown. So I'm gonna go in with some indigo, and I'm gonna put this down in the palette, and then I'm gonna go in with this burnt orange right here and make some brown. We need more orange. If it looks green, you just need to add more orange. All right, so we've got our brown, and we're gonna paint the trunks. I don't have a bright enough blue for the dragonfly, so I'm trying to get another color out. This one is by Letter Sparrow. I'm gonna clean this mixing tray off so that way I have it and can use it. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna use for the dragonfly. It's a little bit more blue, like kind of like almost a turquoise color in the picture, but I'm not gonna worry about it too much about matching the color completely. So this is what I'm gonna stick with, and I'm gonna get started. I'm nervous about this part. I was nervous about the background too. I'm not 100% done with it because I still need to add some value to the leaves, but we're just doing first layers and we're hoping for the best. I don't want to ruin this. I really like it. Okay, so there's this Quin Violet in the palette from Da Vinci that I think would go pretty nicely with some shading in here. So I'm gonna drop it in. And then I'm gonna take the turquoise and put it on top. All right, going back, I'm just using that turquoise in this palette. I'm not gonna use any other color because I really wanna focus on the Da Vinci paints. So I'm gonna get a bigger brush and I need to mix more brown. So brown is indigo, and then an orange. In this palette, it is quinacridone burnt orange. And if it looks green, add more orange. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in more on him and start going. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out and I am going to go back into these leaves and make them darker. I'm just going to mix all this together to make like a gray and then pick up, this is Denise Green. I'm going to pick up some of that and water it down and then touch all my places again that I laid down the pen. And this is how I get my depth in my paintings. I'm not going to go crazy with it. And I drop in water every now and again to give it that watercolor look. I like how that blends better than anything else. The background really stands out from the leaves and stuff, so I'm going to try and draw lines and leaves in the background to give it more of a texture back there. So I'm going to be using the same green that we mixed before, and I'm going to be using the green on this little palette here. Okay, so this one was Pearline Green and this one was Denise Green. So I really kind of just want to blend things into the background and make them stand out more like they are leaves. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just trying because I feel like the background is so different and doesn't have enough texture than the leaves. So I'm just going to mess with it. Something that I'm trying to focus on in my work is creating layers. Now I know I can create layers in individual objects, but I'm more or less talking about creating layers within the piece. So I really like what this looks like back here now. So I'm just going to keep doing stuff like that. I'm really using my water to play with the color more and make it kind of textured. Almost like there's leaves back there, but they're not defined. So this is voiceover Brie, and obviously I'm done with this painting already. And I will have to say that I am not good at putting texture in the background. I'm actually not good at adding texture at all, to be honest. I feel like a lot of my paintings are pretty smooth and light and washy, and not that that is bad. I do like that look, but I also want to put some variety in my work, and I think that being able to put a solid line of color and a definite leaf in the background would be really nice. It's a whole lot of just convincing myself that I can do it to make it look more realistic than anything. It's just going to take me practice, but like I said, I'm not 100% satisfied with the background of this one. I'm going to darken up some spots in the background, and so I mixed the Pearline Green with the what was that, indigo. I'm just going to drop it in some places that are wet so it bleeds on its own. I might help it a little bit in certain spots, but I want to create depth, so I'm picking spots that I know would be pretty deep in color. I'm hoping to just tap this in and then blend it with some water and get some cool effects. I love water with watercolor. I love to see what watercolor does with the water, so I need a paper that can handle all that water. And this does a pretty good job. I'm gonna keep going and see what happens. I don't want to go too crazy and go too dark and then make the background stand out more than the guy, but I can always outline him too, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm gonna need some more. I made a lighter version for over here, so I still have that same color, but not as intense. Okay, so I mixed Perylene green, which is already pretty deep, and then indigo and water. Okay, so I think everything's looking pretty good. A lot of times I like to look on the camera to see how well everything's popping, and I like it, but I think that these stand out a little bit too much. I kind of want to add this green into these leaves. So that's what I'm going to do. And I like that you can see through the wings, but it's not too much. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to really water it down, and I'm going to pop it in just a little. I don't want to blend this out too much. I want to keep it in the center. All right, so this is my finished piece. I really like it. I think that it turned out pretty good. I still want to work on the background like I talked about earlier. That is kind of on my to-do list of just getting better at. So I have more sketches actually in here, kind of working on overlapping and background stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll see ya.